We thought that the 2023 reveal season is going to be totally boring, but Alfa Romeo proved us wrong. Alfa Romeo revealed its 2023 Formula One car by the use of digital renders and physical prototype. The surprise was that, like other teams, Alfa did not just make a livery reveal, but did actually showcase a car which was very different to the team's C42 car from 2022. I watched the reveal live and was surprised to see at least one team doing what we thought no team would do this season. Alfa Romeo C43 was revealed in an online launch mixed with both digital renders and a physical car. There were differences between the digital renders and the physical car, but there are plenty of genuine design features of the car that will be shaken down on a filming day in Barcelona at the end of the week ahead of the first pre-season test in Bahrain on February 23rd to 25th. Alfa Romeo technical director Jan Moncho said that the team over the winter break has been busy with changes to the rear suspension and gearbox casing, as well as the introduction of Red Bull-style side pods to unleash next-level performance. We concentrated mainly on the rear part of the car, where we just wanted to be brave enough to do the next step in terms of pure development on the rear end. The concept we had followed last year had come to a plateau. Unleash the next level of performance, we had to do all those changes. We've really been putting a lot of effort on the second part of the car, while the front will develop during the season. Moncho described that the car required some major changes to what he described as big complex parts which impact the fundamental architecture of the car. Last year's C42 has a major issue, it being the rear stability on fast corners. Moncho is confident that these changes have eliminated the constraints of last year's car, particularly on the high-speed corners. We had to acknowledge that there were better solutions on how to manage the flow to the diffuser and between the rear tires. But because of the decision we had made from an architectural point of view, we were stuck in a corner. From what we've seen, some of the weaknesses we had from an aero point of view, which was effectively high-speed performance, has been significantly improved thanks to the potential unleashed with this new bodywork and this new way of working the floor between the rear tires. The first notable difference between the C42 and the C43 is the paint scheme, livery difference. C42 had a red and white livery, whereas the C43 has a red and black livery, which could be due to the incorporation of new title sponsor. More black could mean that the team leave those parts unpainted on race weekends, leading to weight saving, which could actually help Alfa Romeo to keep the car under the 796 kg weight limit. In terms of the floor, we can take what we've seen so far with a pinch of salt. The renders released show a tooth design that doesn't appear entirely legal, while the physical car's simpler floor appeared light on detail and much more simpler than C42's floor. However, we can be sure the definitive version that runs on track at Bahrain will be a significant change from last year, given that the floor edges are raised by 15 mm due to the change of technical regulations for 2023. The most obvious aerodynamic philosophy change are the side pods of the C43. The side pod seems to be a combination of Red Bull's RB18 and Ferrari's F175 side pods. The C43 side pods feature of an aggressive download which ramps at the rear of the side pods. It's all about feeding air into the Coke bottle area to help to energize the diffuser. By comparison, last year's car did have a slightly downward swoop but didn't channel anything like the same amount of airflow to the floor or to the rear Coke bottle area. Alfa Romeo has also moved to a more letterbox-shaped cooling inlet on each side of the side pods, which seems to be inspired by the cooling inlet shape of the Ferrari F175, compared to last year's teardrop shape, making room for a more aggressive undercut. This style radiator inlet design, which allows excess airflow at high speeds to flow out of the outer corner and down the side pods, rather than spilling out lower down and interfering with the underfloor airflow. This should further improve the high-speed airflow to the rear of the car. That in turn will help the performance of the underfloor, which is key to downforce generation under these new rules. The engine cover has also been modified on the C43, and it seems though it is moving closer to the Red Bull style to accompany the changes the team has made to its side pods. That makes it a little more bulky in some areas when compared to last year's C42, which again hints that packaging changes under the skin have cleared the way for the more aggressive side pods design. Some of the cooling louvers have also moved from the top of the side pod to the engine cover. The fact that the side pods are more slender than last year's also suggests that Alfa Romeo has been able to improve its cooling package, potentially thanks to increasing the length of the car. The Coke bottle area itself is more open than last year because of the side pod's design change. Opening up the Coke bottle area is all about maximizing the airflow around this area, to reduce the base pressure on the outer edges of the floor and improve the performance of the diffuser. Although Alfa Romeo uses the Ferrari power unit and gearbox, it has once again decided to make its own gearbox casing to slot the internals the way it wants. This has allowed it to modify its rear suspension system, switching from last year's push rod design to pull rods. Alfa Romeo feels this is the best way to move forward, and the team also believes that this also contributes to maximizing the aerodynamic opportunities at the rear of the car. The diffuser of the C43 appears to be the maximum area allowed by the technical regulations. The fillet radius between the top surface and the side walls of the diffuser is a positive feature, as they should help with aerodynamic consistency and therefore rear stability, which is an issue that the team has tries hard to address on its 2023 Formula One car. The changes to the technical regulations for 2023 has massive changes to be made to the roll hoop structure after its failure during Joe Guanyu's crash at the start of the British Grand Prix. The single spike blade design that Alfa Romeo used last year appears to have found a way to retain. This doesn't mean it's illegal. We can't see the roll hoop in detail, but potentially this is part of a more three-dimensional crash structure as per the new regulations. That isn't wholly visible. The blade is also more rounded than last year to reduce the chances of it digging into the ground and failing. But this gives the front of the airbox a distinctive look from the rest of the grid, with the air intake on each side and separate parts, which is a notable difference compared to how this area looked on last year's C42. While Alfa Romeo's technical director confirmed that the team's focus has been on the rear of the car mainly over the course of the winter break, what about the front of the car? What have the designers done to the front to accompany the changes made to its middle and rear aerodynamic philosophies? When you look in the front wings of the C42 and C43, you can clearly see that the front wing has been carried over from last year's concept. Full-width slot gap separators between the lower two elements should mean consistent airflow to the underfloor and minimize the chances of any cross-flow interfering with that. Behind the front wing is a pushrod front suspension system, similar to last year's C42. The leading edge of the floor looks relatively high, which could potentially reduce the underfloor downforce generated. As we all know, with these new ground effect cars, more closer the car runs to the ground, more downforce is created. Although the leading edge is high up causing this issue, it should increase its consistency overall. Alfa Romeo's aim this season is to have consistent top 10 finishes and to try and challenge front runners. Last season, the Ferrari power unit meant that Alfa Romeo could not be consistent due to power unit related DNFs. But Moncho expects the reliability improvement of the Ferrari power unit will help the team perform consistent over the course of the 2023 season. The team hopes the revised cooling package will ensure there's no repeat of the overheating problems that affected the team at times early last year. Alfa Romeo made a significant jump last year, with the 2023 C43 looking different both in terms of design and paint job. Alfa Romeo needs it to be a major stride in terms of performance and reliability if it's to match or better last year's 6th place in the Constructors' Championship. But what do you guys think? How close will the car Alfa Romeo unveiled be to the car the team puts on track for pre-season testing and for the first race at Bahrain? Will the team be able to be more consistent and best the rest off the midfield? Let us know your opinions in the comments section down below. Thank you for watching our video today, and if you enjoy our content, subscribe to the channel and have that notifications bell turned on to be made aware of our future uploads in preparation of the 2023 Formula One season.